If, as Martin Betts said, you come up with a project that everyone has a stake in, then everyone gathers around that in a way which they all can see benefit from giving up a little bit of their sovereignty and putting some of what they sort of a bit careful about onto the table, and then there's something substantive to talk about, and once that happens then everything opens up and you start rolling. But it's got to be something that everyone has an interest in achieving a successful outcome from whatever viewpoint they have, whether it's good research, competitive commercial outcomes, or good government policy for social benefit. Well, I think they need to pace themselves carefully, because there's a number of constituencies that need to be brought together. But clearly Gary is working on all the academics, they're all here today, getting a number of industrialists around the table who perhaps wouldn't normally talk to each other, and both federal and state department organisations that have a stake in all of this. And he's clearly got a number of the people from all the different constituencies at different levels lined up ready to go. There does need to be something that they all gather around which they would take an interest in, but actually, yeah, it's a perfect example of how you can use what is a very smart facility to do some pretty smart work on a range of people. Well, the world that Mike used towards the end, which was leadership, Mike is in a position of leadership. And he can bring secretaries from other departments alongside, because transport and infrastructure isn't only the departments that are relevant. There's energy, there's how waste is managed, and all the telecoms infrastructure. So all of those secretaries, he could lead them into the right place. And indeed, in our steering panel for our programs, we have the secretaries of all those departments as well as senior industrialists sat around the senior advisory group table to provide the strategic direction for the work we're doing. It's one that's quite difficult to define as a problem. It's something that can be around for quite some time. It has properties of having to interact with a whole range of stakeholders. So it's not a project in a traditional sense of the word, and yet it's an activity and a set of tasks and programs, that all of which have to be coherently managed but not necessarily have identical purpose. Nevertheless, they bring in their own constituents value to a whole range of outcomes which are either social, technological, environmental or economic. And in that sense, it's a admixture of things of different characteristics, that at the receiving end, everyone knows when it isn't right. But in the delivery end, it's a very complex set of things that we don't necessarily have the right mechanisms to organise at the moment. And that's why the word wicked sounds a good description of it.